So I was hoping that Akia would go on, because this is an area that he has studied very extensively. And so I'm just going to make a few remarks that would kind of dovetail what he said. And then if he has additional information that he wants to share, he ought to do that. What he's outlined, and as he set it up, looking at the financial situation, Jackson is put in the same position now that Detroit was in a few years ago. And I think the hope and wish is that Jackson will in fact have to go bankrupt in that same kind of way. Now, the strange thing about it is, did you mention the 1% sales tax increase? They did pay, the state legislature did give Jackson the authority to provide a 1% sales tax increase, and that was to deal with the infrastructure. Now, the catch is that before that really got out of the gate and was implemented, it was amended so that a lot of the people and a lot of the businesses that come into Jackson, or people that come into Jackson, they were exempt from it. So you're talking about the city of Jackson now, its citizens having to really pay the whole thing themselves. And keep remembering that this is happening after a drastic decline in revenue. People are much less able to do that than they would have been 10 years ago. But now that's the kind of thing that the legislature grants as its, I guess, assistance to the city of Jackson. But I wanted to go back and just talk about make three other points. And one is that when we talk about the water and the other utilities, it always bothered me when I was a child even. Why is all this not owned by the city? Why is it all privatized? And if it's privatized, that means a lot of, they in it for the profit. So people who can't afford to pay the bills, there's no real sympathy for them. 10 to 20% of Jackson residents have real difficulty, and I mean real difficulty, in paying their utility bills from month to month. To delay the bill may sound like it's being merciful, but if you can't pay it now, you don't have any additional income, you're not going to be able to pay it next month and the next month and the next month. But privatization is built on that kind of thing. The second point I would make is that as the Congress gave the states more and more authority through block grants and other kinds of things, the states can now decide whether or not to expand Medicare. They can decide whether or not to fund the SNAPS program and other kinds of things that would benefit people and enable them to be able to deal with their water bill, their utility bill, and those kind of things. Now, at the same time that happens, Congress becomes stymied because a large majority of the people, especially in the House, are opposed to expanding any additional spending on, quote, social programs. These are human needs programs. So as that happens, then where do people turn? Increasingly, our state officials have talked about churches and other private agencies chipping in and assisting people with these kind of bills. Often that means then you may have to pass a religious test in order to even get that assistance. Or you have to at least be friendly toward the church in order to go there and ask them for the donation. To put it very mildly, when it comes to water and other public utilities, most citizens are at the mercy of private companies, with the government, the state and federal government, caring very little about what happens as a consequence of that change.